Welcome to what I'm calling the final word on Picard Season 3. Forgive the salacious title. I assume if you watch this video, you'll realize that this disclaimer at the beginning will kind of, dampen any flames that may arise because of that title. The final word, who's this guy to say he has the final word? Whatever you think is the final word. I titled it that because it's short and simple and makes sense. I'm going to be going over the last comments that I got in response to my comment response, the meta comments as it were, and finalize my feelings on Star Trek Picard Season 3. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. Stay tuned to the end for a special message about what's coming next, by the way. Michael Papp, you are saying you don't mind diet. Yes, exactly. This is the word I was looking for, and it was eluding me momentarily. You were saying you don't mind diegetic uses of real word music. When they're used as part of the soundtrack for artistic or cinematic reasons you feel are replaced. That's what I'm getting. That's exactly it. I just couldn't think of it at the time. Previously in Star Trek, it was like music existed in the environment, and the music that was playing did not necessarily set up the scene. It was music that was existing because of the scene. Right, so we're watching a play, we're watching some type of orchestration, we're playing our own instruments, we're listening to music in our quarters. We never really used the music to set up the scene before we knew that the scene included the music. You'll see that a lot in Star Trek Picard. Like, we're just listening to, I don't know, what was it? What was that song? Picard Season 2 started this way. I think Season 3 started this way. What was that? I don't want to set the world on fire. Something like that. I'm spitballing here. I can't exactly remember what it was. But it was playing before we knew what was happening. And it was just like, oh, isn't this nifty? It's so cinematic. Well, I never felt that Star Trek was really like that. Star Trek to you might be something totally different. But to me, Star Trek was like, it's kind of like a documentary. Right? It's kind of like a day in the life. It's kind of like cinema verite type of thing, right? Like, we're not supposed to be extremely cinematic with it or extremely romantic in its filming design. That's just how I feel. I don't like the dramatic slowdown either. Kind of goes along with that. You might think totally different. Maybe I'm just a dinosaur. Michael Papp, if the Shrike was commissioned by Vatic, I can understand why it would be scary looking. She'd want a ship of visual intimidation as well as armament. Still, it's boring. Yes, it is boring. Too easy. Tell the story with the ship's weathering. Make it look like it's been through just all the crap and come out on top. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like... I maybe I just don't have the villain mindset, but I can't imagine wanting to have a scary ship. I mean, big, yes, but like full of thorns and weird angles. I don't. Remember, weird angles also means structurally not as strong. The most structurally strong shape would be a sphere, right? And in Starfleet, we get away with having shapes that are very strong, like a cylinder, a saucer. Necks are a little bit iffy, but we do the best we can. And insofar as our designs go, they tend to be erring on the side of structural integrity. We have the structural integrity field. We have transparent aluminum. We have monotanium, tritanium, single, double hulls. We have neutronium, things like that. But, it's just, there's just something outside of the realm of the logic of the show. There's something about these strange angular ships that's going to speak to the mind of the average viewer and maybe say, yes, it's intimidating, but wouldn't something just snap off? You can have all the logic in the world of Star Trek to explain why it wouldn't be, but it just speaks to the mind in some way. It's like, this is kind of stupid. It's like the Reliant versus the Enterprise in The Wrath of Khan. like the ships made sense. It makes perfect sense why it looks the way it does. Not to keep droning on about the Wrath of Khan, but having seen Picard season 3, maybe you're getting tired of that movie. Just playing that record on repeat. Thanks, Michael Papp. You're back. I agree. Pro season 1 is the best new Trek season since like the Legacy era. We're calling it Legacy era ended. In terms of wholesomeness and ascent, it's in Prodigy. I don't think Prodigy at any point ever gives you the wrong lesson. Right? It's thematically dense. It sounds beautiful. I thought the show was gorgeous, just visually. And the ships, it brought back the Dauntless design. The Protostar design, it's got a miss here and there, but second closest Strange World season 1. I'm putting Lower Decks season 2 ahead of Strange World season 1. But and then so I would go like Prodigy season 1, Lower Decks season 2. Lower Decks season 3 probably tied with Strange New World season 1, and then Picard season 3. That's how I'd say. So we're almost in agreement. Like, we're almost seeing eye to eye here. But I love season 2 of Lower Decks, but Lower Decks season 3 had the episode where Rutherford meets his past self and has to contend with deleting his old self. Like, it's an idea you just don't see. You always see this stuff about coming to terms with your true self and incorporating them, and you never see like, what if you found out your old self was villainous? Like, you just don't see that type of thing, and it was just such a memorable episode that I still think about today. I mean, but season 3 overall had a few more misses than season 2. This is not a video about Lower Decks, but thank you, Michael Papp. Michael Papp again. Was your text communications alert the actual communications chirp from TOS? Yep. I use the TOS chirp, and you're using Captain incoming message from Worf. Yeah. I like the TOS chirp. I don't think it's been topped sound design wise. TOS, TNG and beyond, they have their own kind of soundscape, and I think moving forward, if we had a new show set in the 2500s, like the next generation, which I kind of want, Discovery future having been what it was, I would like to see a totally new soundscape. Like, give me a sound that's better than the TOS chirp. Like, just create a new universe of sound. The bridges to sound totally different. Just get creative. I know it's a lot to ask, but it's good to get creative. Again, Michael Papp. If there is a particular scene that keeps getting copyright struck, just blur the scene out and muffle the music or sound. Doesn't explain the scene. It's more important that we watch your reaction to the scene and know the context of what you're reacting to. This is when I was talking about potentially having live reactions coming back, kind of, but they just keep getting struck down. We should have already watched the episode or trailer or whatever by then. Yeah, I'm probably going to try to... I did this in one video. I think I got away with it. Zoom in on the play button where it shows the time, so that you can match that time. That's maybe, and don't show anything else. But I see some people getting away with showing a TV screen at a weird angle. Maybe that's something that could be done. I mean, you never know. But a pillar of this channel that is missing is live reaction style content. It's just not really here. It's hard for me to do because live reaction content lives and dies by the speed at which it is uploaded and or streamed, and it's hard for me to do that. I mean, 1 hour video here, the last video I uploaded, that took me 8 hours upload, and it consumed the entire internet, and I wasn't very happy about that, and I just had to kind of sit patiently for that long for it to upload. I feel like other people may be getting faster uploads, but hey, out here in space, there's no kind of atmosphere. I'm all alone, more or less. I'm not a nugget blackheart. Forgive me for my... Okay, yeah. I already kind of responded to this because it's kind of like a direct question. I've been going through some health issues. I'm sorry to hear that. Can't comment as much as I used to. I'm glad to see you enjoyed Season 3, especially seeing the Enterprise D back in its glory. Should have been the one that should have continued being the Enterprise, and the Titan should have continued being the Titan. Yeah. The rechristening just made no damn sense. We're in agreement there. You don't have to feel obligated to comment or anything. I hope everything is okay. Yeah, it's a very succinct response. Far be it from me to comment on my own comment, but I'm just going to drop myself a heart and a like there, bud. Alright, no problems. Thanks. Thank you a lot. I'm not a nugget blackheart. I hope everything works out okay. This is an interesting one. This is one I've been thinking about day in, day out since it was posted. I don't care if kids curse. They're just words. True. Like you heard taking no offense. Yeah, I remember that on TOS. Lincoln was there, and he accidentally called someone negress, and he was like upset that he maybe offended her, and they were like, "Oh, we're not afraid of words anymore." Do swear words actually harm anyone? Probably not. No one should ever be called one in real life. Well, now, racist words are harmful. Swear words are not, in my opinion. When in a professional setting, no. In private, why not? Yeah. This made me think a lot about like what a swear word really is, and I was thinking, you have like a stone cold good logic here to explain why in the future would we not just have these swear words? Like, why wouldn't we just say it to one another? And I think a word can be harmful, but if you go far enough into the future, it may be so disconnected. Like, probably, like, every swear word may have been harmful at one point. I was thinking this. And then enough time goes by, and then it just doesn't matter. And then you're wondering, okay, well, if that's the case, why wouldn't everybody in Star Trek be cursing all the time? Cursing, swear words, you know what I mean. And, I think the intention is important. Like, the swear words, so far in New Trek, I'll say, tend to not have the harmful intention. They tend to be just kind of like, I'm going to respond to this thing by saying, oh, that's effing cool, right? Right? No one's hurt by that. I mean, I'm not hurt by it, but the thing is, you also kind of have to explain why it is. Like, if you're operating within canon, why did it just start now? And then I was thinking, okay, if it just started now, we buttressed both sides of New Trek. We said Discovery is pre-TOS, there's cursing in that. And then Picard and Beyond is post-TOS, and there's cursing in that. So we've got all of classic Trek in a weird envelope where they don't really curse. And then, if it's the intent that matters, how do we know if it's the intent that matters, and a long period of time has gone on between, say, your time and my time, wink wink, how do we know that some of the words they're saying aren't curse words in the future? I was just thinking this, like, thanks a lot for this comment. It really made me think. I was thinking about this yesterday and every day in between. What if some of the words in Star Trek, like, I don't know, floorboard, just a completely random word. What if that's like a curse word and we didn't know? We didn't notice. And since all that matters is the intent, nobody noticed that it was said in an angry way, so it never really became a curse word. It's just something I was just mulling over in my head, because this really gets the thoughtful enzymes rolling in the brain, this comment, which is the best thing a comment can do. And that they are just words, according to Michael Papp. Do you take offense to a curse word? Do you take offense to the curse word if it's aimed at you with a negative intent? Racist words are harmful. Swear words are not, in my opinion. When in professional setting, no. In private, why not? Great comment. Those are just my thoughts on it. I still don't have a logical conclusion that can defeat this comment, but I will say that just for the sake of making things like old Trek, right, as silly as this sounds, I would rather they didn't, because it makes me have to explain why it is we just have this cutoff where we can curse and where we can't. Like Picard one day, it said, "Oh, it's 2390. We can curse now." I'm sorry if that sounds like I'm diminishing this comment. That's not my intention. So I just said I guess so, because I couldn't. It was so complicated. It took me a long time to figure out what to respond to. I said I guess so because it sounds right, and I did really, really think about it. This is a great comment. So thanks a lot, Michael Papp. Anyone who has watched 10 of your videos would know how much you adore TNG and TOS ships. This is when I was embarrassed a little bit about crying. Even if we had no idea, it would be pretty scummy to you think that you're wrong for getting all teared up over something. Yeah. I think what it was I saw, I think it was in the first episode at the credits, I saw the classic ships on display on the LCARS monitor. And they showed the Pioneer, and that's a newer ship. But the thing is, it's designed to look like it's pre-TOS, and it looks just like something from the Cage. The nacelle caps here, these red things, they had the antenna at the end, like they did in the Cage, and I was just like, oh my god! I just had an involuntary discharge of salty liquid from my ocular organ. That's all. Maybe there was an onion somewhere. There could have been an onion in the room. You don't know. I did a short comparing Data and the Kurlan Neskar, or Nasco, whatever it is. How a person is multiple people stacked together like a doll, like a stacking doll, right? You have multiple people living inside you. Like the people in the Kurlan system thought that. Kind of a weird cut into TNG here. But I was making comparison between that and how Data was described in this season, saying how he's kind of like, he's multiple people. He's a bit of me, he's a bit of Lore, he's a bit of Data, he's a bit of B4. And then powercage, which is the diminishing, funny, hilarious, deprecating comment. Cue pottery breaking sound effect 4. You know that exact sound too. If you've seen Star Trek Generations, there's this moment where Picard, the after the saucer lands, he picks up the Kurlan Neskar and he just like biffs it, and you hear like a pottery breaking sound or something. Like there's like, it's so funny. Whoa, what a name here. User IO4S45B4HB. I better be careful. I may have just activated some self-destruct thing in this ship by saying that. User IO4SF5BD4I. Enter cringe G. The Titan cringe. I'm sorry. I can't abide by the Constitution 3 class. It's not. Just don't want to. It's just one of those things. Thanks, user IO4S for blah blah blah. Michael Papp is back. Papp's back. Papp attack. Papp attack. Papp back. Papp. Pretty sure we saw the Excalibur as an ambassador. This is when I was remarking about how we barely got any ambassador class ships, and there's like 3 maybe 4. And you brought up the Excalibur as an ambassador class. Wasn't the Excalibur in a series of books or something? And then, the New Frontier by Peter David. Yeah. I almost read those. That's why I brought it up, because I remember the ship being ambassador class in that book. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Michael Papp, I love the new Data. It's such a wonderful way to bring the character back. Yeah, I'm good on the new Data. I'm happy with where they went. The new Data. It feels right to me. It's not old Data back. It's Data completing his character arc of becoming a real boy, like in earnest this time. Like not, if it's for keeps this time. And I was happy with that. I thought it was good. You need to remember, it's not like we're bringing these characters back. We're finishing them. Hopefully, we're closing the book. So if we were saying we were bringing Data back for like 10 new seasons of Star Trek, I would not be as happy with this character arc completing, because I know they were just going to have to undo it anyway to keep making a new character arc over and over again, which is just going to be the same arc constantly. But since they ended it for now, this is a beautiful way to send off Data, right? Send them off into the new frontier, for real this time, the frontier of humanity, the frontier of being mortal, right? He's died, and now he's living for the first time for real. I thought it was great, and I thought the scenes between Geordi and Data were just so real. They were so real because we spent 7 years with these people, 7 years plus, and it wasn't fake. It was real when they were friends in season 3. It was real when it happened, and it was a beautiful gift that we all got from season 3. WysterzStudioz, Studios. The Stench of Discovery. Makes sense. That was just a joke video I did, just because I had the idea. And he thinks it makes sense, so that's cool. Cool Hand, you're back. Thank you for responding to my post. I agree with your assessments really well. I just added my criticism and the Star Trek 3 references when they executed the science officer. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for the courteous response to my comment. Thanks a lot. This is a reference to when Vadic killed Tavine, I believe. Thanks a lot, Cool Hand. Michael Papp, 100% correct. Kurtzman is a producer. This is when I was saying be careful about who you blame. Usually when something's bad, it's because of many people. It's because of a nebulous fog of bad, right? Like, they're like a hydra sometimes. You think you got one head cut off and it just grows 2 more in its place. I think I got that right. I think it's a hydra. Anyway, Kurtzman is a producer. He produces acclaimed content like Strange New Worlds and more controversial stuff like Discovery. Do you abbreviate Discovery as DCS? Is that some other show I don't know about? I always went DIS, Disco, or STD. Like, I was fine with STD, by the way. I didn't think it was... I know people thought that was like a derogatory thing for Star Trek, but I don't know. It makes sense. You can't lay all the blame on one guy. True, it takes a whole company to make a Star Trek. Yeah, it takes a family to raise a Star Trek. Many cooks in the kitchen sometimes. Sometimes flavors and tastes don't mesh. And that's okay, as long as they figure their stuff out. Progress can be seen towards that goal. True. I mean, you can see these shows getting better with time. New Trek has improved. There was a pretty dark moment there. But it's getting better. There's always a chance it could fail again. I don't know if that Starfleet Academy show is going to be very good. I don't know if the Section 31 movie is going to be very good. But, the one, you can take solace in the fact that it's just one small piece of the puzzle, right? We're going to have all these things coming. I mean, maybe it's good that we have all these different shows, because if you can fail, if one can succeed, I don't know. I mean, my goal, my view was that we should have just one good show, but I mean, and then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if we have lots of different shows, we can have failures more often, and it'll be okay. But yeah, it's true. Kurtzman. I mean, you can blame Kurtzman, but he there's lots of people around him that can take blame. There's lots of people around him that can take blame for good things too. So let's just remember that. But it always comes down to the way the human mind works. People associate an era with one person. People think this is the Gene Roddenberry era. This is the Rick Berman era. This is the J.J. Abrams type stuff. And this is the Kurtzman era. That's just how we are. Unfortunately, we're in the Kurtzman era now. Maybe not for much longer. I have no idea. But call it a bad era. But I think we've got at least 3 or 4 seasons of good stuff come out of it. According to Terry Matalas, or somebody behind the scenes, Wesley has more or less devoted himself to the Travelers. Sort of a sacrifice our personal lives in favor of the overall goal thing. I still feel Beverly has seen Wesley in decades. Aw. Well, the whole Traveler thing always kind of creeped me out. I know some people like it. I like the original episode with the Traveler. It's like season 1, I think. It's just kind of weird. Like, Wesley has always been like one of these strange things dangling out of TNG since forever that people have not quite been able to get behind. I mean, I'm strange in that I don't completely hate him. I don't know why. I'm rare in that I'm the type of person who can watch early TNG and just, I don't know, just Wesley just goes right over my head. I don't even notice him. It doesn't really bother me that much. But some people really, really hate him. But yet also I'm not like totally in love with the Traveler plotline. So I don't know. So according to behind the scenes stuff, he's more or less just with the Travelers now, doing whatever it is they do, you know. Maybe the Travelers will come back in a new show, you know, like if we get the quote unquote Star Trek Legacy show. Maybe the Travelers, you know, will show up and help us defeat the some new enemy, you know. The Sphere Builders are coming, right? The Battle of Procyon 5 is coming. We've seen that in Star Trek Enterprise when we looked at the future briefly. We have to get to the J. The Universe class is coming, which makes the G hard to imagine logically. Popularity is 100% a thing. Garrett Wang was voted one of the sexiest... Really? Sexiest actor on TV, and that sexiest actors on TV, and that saved his job on Voyager. He was voted. I had no idea. I just kind of watch the show. I kind of don't look at anything besides what's just on the show. But I guess he was voted sexiest actor. And this is really weird to me. This is really strange, this comment, because Garrett Wang, I have a friend in real life, I know, right, who actually met Garrett Wang. And now I have another person here, another friend, if you will, who has met Garrett Wang. It just happened to be Garrett Wang. Twice in my life, I knew somebody who met Garrett Wang. Just him, no one else. What does he just always do conventions? What does he always goes to far-flung parts of the world? I don't know. I actually met Garrett Wang in person where he's absolutely a nice guy. I want Harry Kim to be a high-level officer because Garrett Wang deserves to have a cool hero moment. I know. Not the guy who gets alien... What's VD? Is that venereal disease? I'm just thinking about all the things that happened to Garrett Wang in Voyager. Or, Harry Kim. Not to get into it, but, he's one of those tragic characters. Like, him and Miles O'Brien. They just get... The universe just hates them, and it just never works out in their favor. I don't want to get into it, but, yeah, it's... I don't know what it is, but it just feels to me like 7 of 9 was so popular. That's why she's in Picard so much. It just feels like a popularity contest. I don't know. I frown on people who say, "Oh, this is just a popularity contest," and then I always snap back and say, "Well, yeah, of course it is. That's how everything works." And I don't want to be that guy who puts someone down just because they're popular. Oh, 7 of 9, that's why you're captain, because you're... But, it's hard not to notice it when you don't see... You just never see Harry Kim come back, even though he's great. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That is right. Cool. What the hell is that? What's this about? I need to check this one now. Yeah, this comment is referring to my original Vatic theory. I thought this... As soon as I saw Vatic, I thought if her hand came off, what if other parts of her body come off? What if her organs are made of changelings? What if she's just being goaded into doing this because changelings control her body? And so I just thought of a character who was essentially just being blackmailed, as it were, into performing all these acts of villainy, And that was my original theory. It wasn't true. She was just a changeling who could cut a part of her hand off to reveal a 3-dimensional communications link with the Borg Queen. Is that what that was? But I thought my idea was cool. I have a lot of cool ideas for this season that I think could have made it like a 10 out of 10 season, but I mean, I know this is hard. You know what? Writing, going back and rewriting things and having it be good. People are weary of seeing rewrites because they know in the back of their mind that writing is a lot like programming. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but people have told me that anybody can be a programmer, but you have to be a genius to fix bad programming, because programming stacks upon itself, right? And it goes out in every direction. So bad programming early on can destroy an entire program, right? And to fix it without causing more problems, you have to be a genius. It's an art form to fix it, because everything you change affects everything else, right? So sometimes the fix to a bad program is esoteric. It's hard to understand. It takes an intuitive mind to see it. And I think it could be that way with writing too. So when I say, oh, they should have took the captain's yacht into the Borg cube instead of the whole ship, it sounds like a good idea, but then at the same time, you know that when you rewrite anything at the end, especially now with this type of storytelling where it's like all one long movie cut into 10 parts, it can lead to strange problems early on that you won't expect, because everything is now a Rube Goldberg machine, if you know what that is. Like a program. Easy to write something out once, very hard to fix it. That's just how I feel, so don't take it lightly. I'm probably taking it too lightly when I say, oh, we could just do this and fix that and blah, blah, blah. No. Writing is a complicated thing, I imagine. If you've ever tried to create anything, you'll realize how hard it is. It's easy to destroy, it's easy to critique, and it's hard to create. I'm so sorry that Star Trek is ruined. Haha, I'm hoping Legacy's first story is The Search for Shaw. Good idea. Michael Papp. Neil Gaiman had said that he likes to use little cliffhangers in the very... I guess he was at the last page just so the reader would want to turn to the next. Ha ha ha. Yeah. I frown on that. I read a lot of books, and that type of thing is just, I don't know, there's something about it's just a little bit of a sleazy thing. I mean, leave it to anybody else to have the prose in writing that they want. But I always looked at it like it was just kind of, I don't know. It just seems cheap to me. Forgive me. I just went on a tirade about how writing is hard, and now I am criticizing writing just because it uses a cliffhanger ending. Look at me. I'm crazy. Michael Papp. This is just a comment about that poster. I did like a spoof of the Search for Spock poster, but I switched it to The Search for Shaw after what Michael Papp said here. The Search for Shaw. Just as soon as I read it, I knew I could see this in my head the second I saw this phrase, The Search for Shaw, and I just made it a reality. So, perfection GIF. Instead of being able to post that, perfection, that one picture, a GIF where that guy says perfection or something, right? we actually were just saying perfection GIF, and I got the picture in my mind. I know what that means. Hope it's not an hour-long video. I immediately looked at the runtime. Oh, the irony. Oh my god, it took forever to upload that. Yeah, Dr. Beverly Crusher, not noticing her own son had aromatic syndrome. Kind of a big miss. I'm sorry, I said aromatic. Actually, aromatic syndrome. It's like garlic and onion, and the saffron, ginger, the aromatics and stuff that you put in your meal, to give it the real burst of smell, the aromatics. And poor Jack Crusher, he smelled so good, he didn't have to worry any deodorant. Big hint, he could have the aroma and the aromatic syndrome. He could have had it. Dr. Beverly Crusher, how did you not notice? You're a doctor. I'm a doctor, not a chef. And then here we go with Michael Papp explaining season 1 and 2. That all happened in our universe. The Borg Queen was brought back in time from an alternate universe. They and Rios were left in the past. The Borgati Queen is part of our timeline now because she's been here for 400 years. Rios died around then as well. The medical relief organization he and the Doctor founded lasted to Picard's era. The Doctor's Crusher's ship was part of their medical... Is that true? The medical relief organization that Rios and them founded in the past, is that actually true? That's pretty cool. If that's true, that's cool. Somehow lasted to Picard's era, and their ship, the Helios, was part of that. Is that true? I'm just asking. I don't know. I hope that's true. Again, back with the interesting ways of explaining season 2. People volunteering to go with Jack is one thing. What Jack did was basically assimilate those two officers so they escort him to the shuttle. They don't have any choice in the matter. Bring them along. Yeah, that's not. This is a complicated point. I know because the question keeps coming up. In my configuration, rewriting the last 2 episodes, they would be going by choice, and Jack would be making a milestone here, a milestone moment where he is choosing to take on the Borg Queen using his powers, and he has officers going with him that are assigned to him by Shaw, Picard, and them. Like in my configuration, Jack is now operating as part of the crew in this. He's not going off on his own, actually. He's not assimilating these officers. They're going with him willingly. That's what I was kind of saying. And then in the heat of the moment, he could possess their minds to help them. Like how he helped Sydney. That's what I was thinking. But it requires such a huge rewrite that I don't know if it's even possible. But what you're saying in the configuration of the last events of this season that you're imagining this would be true, you wouldn't want to force them to go with you. And I wouldn't want to force anybody. Turns out that is actually the case. The bridge was always designed to have modular consoles in the sense that engineering could be done at the con station, ops, security, blah, blah, what have you. Each station could do anything. Basically, the LCARS was intended to be adapted to the person as well, like their own personal settings. Yeah, I've heard this before. I've read an awful lot about the design of TNG in the background of the Galaxy class and what they were doing with it. This is me talking about my headcanon that you could switch around each panel to do different things to try to explain how it was that Data was at one and Geordi was at the other, and it should have been reversed. This is right. The Voyage Home was the highest grossing Trek film for decades. I know a lot of people told me it was their favorite. It had exactly 0 bad guys and absolutely no ship-on-ship violence. It is a perfect Trek movie, and it's so fun. I wish people would emulate it more instead of just trying to do Wrath of Khan over and over again. True. We're due for a fun movie right now. We need a Voyage Home so bad right now. Just try to do it without time travel. If you can do it without time travel, that would be great, because if you know my channel and me personally by now, I'm not a huge fan of using the time travel crutch idea. The D was never the best looking ship to me. I always thought the nacelles were too small and too low. Felt way off balance in my opinion. I felt the lowered, sleeker look of the Intrepid class works best. It's like a design bridge between the D and the E. Well, it's not like a design bridge between the D and the E. It is a design bridge between the D and the E. I think that was kind of, if you look at it chronologically, it kind of is a cross between Galaxy class and Sovereign class, not including the Ross class, if you're familiar with that. Yeah. I mean, there's no accounting for taste with this type of thing, unfortunately. So there's almost nothing I can say to change your mind. Like, I didn't like the Galaxy class at first. It took its time to grow on me, like a tumor. But once it did, I couldn't scrape it off. And then finally, a really cool comment. What if they had brought back Q's son to test Picard's? Ah, yes. The next generation, as it were. For Star Trek Legacy, if it's real. You seem to be okay with bringing back Q. I seem to have wanted a send-off for John Delancey. So maybe we can get the best of both worlds and have, I don't know, a relative of John Delancey's son, if he has one, daughter, I don't know. Just bring back another Q. We're going to best of mine, best of your world, and we're going to see what comes out on top in Star Trek Legacy, except it seems like we're getting the old Q back, even though we gave him a great send-off. One of the few good things in Picard Season 2 that we kind of squashed, although the Q ain't linear. So maybe he's just going to say, I'm not that Q. We have no way of knowing until we get to the hypothetical next episode in this chronology. Thanks a lot, Michael Papp. Thanks a lot for your input and everything. Thanks a lot, everybody who commented so far along with me on this okay season of Star Trek. Pretty good, maybe. Thanks a lot for all the comments on my comments. And thanks a lot for everyone who stuck around this long. 5-part video series. But there's a special message at the end. We are very close to the release of Star Trek Resurgence. And I'm going to tell you now, this is the first time I've been really excited for a Star Trek game in a long time. This one looks to be what we're looking for with the Star Trek game. If you'll forgive me for assuming what we're all thinking. A game that's kind of set in a defined era with a canonical look, we'll say, involving the Centaur type, which is a ship I always loved. Again, that's subjective. Maybe you don't like it, but I can't wait to get on board the U.S.S. Resolute. And I'm going to do the best I can to get gameplay of that and commentary of that game up as soon as I can possibly get it up, because I know not everybody's probably going to be buying it on day one, but I'm going to be trying to get it up. Watch it if you want to. Don't watch it if you don't want to be spoiled. But connection speeds willing, I'm going to have it up as soon as I can. I'm going to go right now, see if I can pre-download it. I want to get ahead of the game, but I'm going to be playing Star Trek Resurgence. To me, it feels like we're getting a little Star Trek show before the next Star Trek show. The next Star Trek show is going to be Strange New World Season 2. Looking forward to it, but I'm really looking forward to Star Trek Resurgence. A mini show. It looks like its own show. Is it going to be as good as its own show? Is it going to be terrible? We're going to find out here first. I'm Lieutenant Mark, and that was the final word on Star Trek Picard Season 3. A pretty good season. The themes are there. The member berries are there. It really pulls at your heartstrings. The music was on point the whole time. Let's get a little bit more original next time. Hard to say that in a season where we're bringing back all the old cast, isn't it? That's just how I felt. I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I'm going to see you very shortly. Goodbye.